Hello. हेलो डियर स्टूडेंट्स, गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। कौन कौन बच्चा आ गया है बच्चा लोगों? तो गुड इवनिंग बच्चा लोगों एंड वेलकम टू गेट वाला इंग्लिश चैनल। दिस इज अ सेशन ऑफ रिवीजन थ्रू क्वेश्चंस। ओके, so in this series or in this lecture we will not be doing very much difficult questions. Rather, I have taken such questions so that all the concepts of almost all the chapters are revised thoroughly. Okay, so in this lecture we will be solving around 10 to 12 questions, and from each chapter I have taken one question. Okay, and we will be dealing with it. We will be studying all the concepts in and around that question so that all the chapters are revised through this session. So बच्चा लोगों, how's your preparation going for GATE 2023? How's your preparation going for GATE 2023 बच्चा लोगों? And कौन कौन बच्चा आ गया जल्दी से अपने अटेंडेंस मार्क कर दो। Great. So I hope all the students are constantly giving test series. You are constantly attempting test series and you are constantly improving yourself. Okay, so all this is very important. Only 2 weeks are left. Only 2 weeks are left. These 14 days are most important days. Stop going to college, बच्चा लोगों. Stop anything that will waste your time. Okay, only focus on your studies. Try to wrap up all the concepts. Try to study all the concepts and move on. Good afternoon, बच्चा लोगों. बहुत बढ़िया. So let's start, बच्चों. So in these coming 14 days, I request all the students who are aspiring for GATE 2023, stop going to colleges. Try to revise as much as possible. Revise again and again. Revise all the notes, not only short notes, revise your main notes also. And just go and try attempting test. Try attempting test. And keep yourself calm. Because in these 14 days, you will be very anxious. You will feel very low. You might also feel that all the concepts are going out of your mind, but this will not happen. Okay, so try following these things, because these 14 days are very important for all those who are college, all those who are doing some job. You can also take leave for these 14 days. Okay, try to manage so that you are able to revise all the things and you are able to keep yourself calm. Okay, bacha logo. So let's see some very beautiful questions, and we will see the concepts related to the questions so that the whole chapter is revised thoroughly. Important topics are revised thoroughly. Okay, महारिवीजन कल होगा. एक्चुअली कल इसलिए नहीं हो पाया था बिकॉज ऑफ सम इमरजेंसी. तो आज कंट्रोल का हो जाएगा महारिवीजन, कल हो जाएगा महारिवीजन सिग्नल का. ठीक है, कल शाम को 7 बजे. कल शाम को 7 बजे होगा महारिवीजन सिग्नल का, ठीक है। यार एंड सेम के बीच में तो आप लोग कॉलेज वालों से बोल सकते थे ना, थोड़ा आगे पीछे शिफ्ट कर लो, या आप क्या कर सकते हैं यार। चलो कल होगा, ठीक है, कल शाम को 7 बजे होगा सिग्नल सिस्टम का महारिवीजन, ठीक है। आज कंट्रोल का होगा, विशाल सर लेंगे, कल मैं ले लूंगा। ओके, सो लेट xn बी अ डिस्क्रीट सिग्नल एंड लेट y1n इज x2n। मतलब यहां पे क्या हो रहा है बच्चों, व्हाट वी आर डूइंग हियर, this is called decimation. I hope all of you remember this. Decimation, okay. And what is this? What is this? Interpolation. अच्छा, कितने कितने मार्क्स आ रहे हैं गेट टेस्ट सीरीज में बच्चों, फुल सिलेबस में कोई बताएगा मेरे को? दिस इज इंटरपोलेशन। Okay, this is interpolation. Okay. So now, with respect to these signals, we have to answer some questions. So these are the options. If xn is periodic, then y1n is periodic. If xn is periodic, y1n is periodic. बच्चा लोगों, मिस्टेक्स का मैंने बताया था ना आप लोगों को यार क्लास में। चलो फिर से रिपीट करूंगा यहाँ पे अभी वो बात। चलो बताओ बच्चों, if xn is periodic, then y1n is periodic. If xn is periodic, then the decimation is also periodic. Is it true or false बच्चों? What do you think? If xn is periodic, then its decimation is also periodic. Yes or no? Yes, it is always true. If xn is periodic, then x of 2n is also periodic. If xn is periodic, then x of 2n is also periodic. Okay. Now, how it is periodic, बच्चा लोगों? So, is the period always n by 2? Is the period always n by 2? Just tell me yes or no. Is the period always n by 2? If the period of xn is capital N, the period of x of 2n is n by 2. True or false? Depends, right? For example, xn is any signal. Let us take any example. Its period is 4. So period of the signal is 4. Okay. Now if I do decimation, then I take 1, skip 1. So I take 1, skip 2, take 1, skip 4. Then take 1, skip this, take 1, skip this. So I get 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3 and so on. So in this case the period is n by 2. But is it always true or बच्चों false? Is it always true or false? बच्चा लोगों, if I say that xn period is capital N, then x of 2n has period n by 2. Is it true or false? Is this true or false बच्चों? Perfect. This is false. This is false because as Ketki student has already told you that if xn is periodic with period n and n is even, then x of n by 2 will have period n by 2. But if n is odd, then x of 2n, not n by 2, sorry. X of 2n and x of 2n the period will be n only. ठीक है ना? Okay. So, but this is always true that if xn is periodic, y1n is also periodic. So, this is always true. There is no doubt about it. Okay. Now, what about this, बच्चा लोगों? If xn is periodic, then its interpolation is also periodic. True or false, बच्चा लोगों? If xn is periodic, then it's y of 2n. Y of 2n means x of n by 2. means interpolation, means zero padding. So zero padded is also periodic. Yes, this is also true. This is also true because we are only padding zeros, right? So if we have any periodic signal, we simply pad zeros in it. So let's say we have a periodic signal 143, 143, and so on. Its period is 3. We simply add zeros between the samples. Simply add zeros between the samples, and if this is periodic with period n, then x of n by 2 is periodic with period 2n. There is no doubt about it. This is always true. Okay, this is always true. Right? Perfect. So this is also true, bacha logo. This is also true. Now we have two more statements. Bacha logo. If the interpolated, now we have two more statements. If x of 2n is periodic, then xn is periodic. Is this true, bacha logo? What do you think about this? If x of 2n is periodic, then xn is periodic. What do you think about it? Is this true or false? What do you think about it, bacho? Sir, in this case, this can be true or cannot be true, but we cannot say that it is always true. So this is not always true. Why? Sir, because x of 2n, it has some information loss. When we create x of 2n, then we have some information loss. We do not have the complete information about xn. So we cannot say that xn is also periodic. So this is not always true. Let's take an example. Suppose xn is a signal 1, 4, 1, 8, 1, 9, 1, 10, 1, 3, 1, 7, and so on. Suppose we have like this xn, and we can see that it is non-periodic. This is non-periodic. But if we design or if we find out x of 2n, then we will get 1, 1, 1, 1, and so on. Right? So, bacha logo, we can see that x of 2n is periodic, but xn was non-periodic. So, this is not always true because of information loss. Okay. And next one. So we can see that this statement y1 as was this. So this statement is false. That if y1n is periodic, then xn is also periodic. So this can be false. Okay. And this is not always true. And let's talk about the last one, bacho. If x of n by 2 is periodic, then xn is periodic. Is this true, bacho? What do you think? Is this true? Yes or no? Yes, sir. This will be true. This has to be true, right? This has to be true because here we have no information loss. We have no information loss in this case, and since we have no information loss, thus xn by 2 has complete information of xn. So if xn by 2 is periodic, so xn will also be periodic. Understood all of you, bacha logo? Great. But if we have the same question, bacho, If we have the same question in continuous time domain, what we'll get? If we have the same question in continuous time domain, means xt is periodic, yt is x of 2t, y1t and y2t, x of t by 2. So if xt is periodic, then yx2t means compressed version is also periodic with period t0 by 2, and x of t by 2 will also be periodic with period 2t0. Understood? And bachcho, and so if xt is periodic, then these two are also periodic. That's completely true. And bacha logo, if y1t is periodic, then xt is periodic. Is this always true, bacha logo? What do you think in continuous domain? If y2t is periodic, then xt is periodic. What do you think about these two statements? These are both true. In continuous domain, if we have the same question, then all four statements will be true, bacha logo. Understood na? All of you remember this concept na, bacha? Perfect. Great, great. Okay, so let's move on, bacho. Let's move on to this case. Let's move on to this case. And now in this, I'll tell you one more very important point in this case. First of all, let's solve this question. Then I'll tell you a very important point related to power and RMS. Okay. So, bacha logo, determine the power and RMS value of the signal. First of all, we have to convert. What do you think? First of all, we have to convert. First of all, we have to convert this into the normal sine and cos. So it is cos and cos. We will convert and we'll get 4 times of cos of 10t, cos a plus b plus cos a minus b. So we get 4 times of cos of 10t. So bacha logo, what is the answer? Sir, 16 by 2 plus 16 by 2, that is 16. 16 is the power. Are you getting this or not, bacho? RMS value is under root 16, that is 4. How many of you got this? Perfect. Now I'll tell you one very important concept related to this power. I think all of you know that, but let's see how many of you can recall it. So let's solve this question, bacho. Let's solve this. What do you think? How to solve this question? Can we solve it directly or we need some more calculation? Can we write it directly? 25 by 2 plus 25 by 2, bachcho? Can we write it like this? 25 by 2 plus 25 by 2, yes or no? Is this true or false? No. In this case, first of all, we have to solve the equation because they are of same frequency. They are of same frequency and they are having some phase also. So here we have to first of all open the bracket. First of all, we have to open the bracket, right? How many of you remember that? Perfect. So let's solve it together, bacha logo. First of all, we have to solve it. Sin A cos B I hope all of you are able to do this, and I hope that all of you know this also, bachcha logo. Now we can combine this and this together, and this term together. So cos 30 degree, cos 30 is root 3 by 2, sin 30 degree is 1 by 2. So if we combine these two, we'll get 1.83 sin 20t, and if we combine these two, we'll get sin 30. That is, we get 6.83 cos 20t. Okay, now we can find out the power directly, a square by 2 plus b square by 2. That is, now we can write it a square by 2 24.9. आ रहे बच्चों सबका? Are you all getting this? Great, great. अच्छा, अभी क्या लग रहा होगा? अभी क्या लग रहा होगा कि सर ये भी तो कर सकते थे, 5 स्क्वायर बाई 2, 5 स्क्वायर। एक्चुअली मेरे से मिस्टेक क्या हो गया इस सवाल में, मैंने दोनों का फेस सेम ले लिया है, मैंने दोनों का फेस सेम ले लिया है, इस वजह से ऐसा यहाँ पे वैलिड बन रहा है वो, ठीक है ना। इन दिस केस मिस्टेकनली आई हैव टेकन द फेस सेम 30 डिग्री इन बोथ द केसेस, दैट्स व्हाई द आंसर इज 5 स्क्वायर बाई 2 प्लस 5 स्क्वायर बाई 2, दैट इज 25. बट इफ इन एनी केस I have solved it completely, I would also request all the students solve it completely only, right? ठीक है ना? So in this case they are same because I have taken the same phase in both the terms. Okay, that's why it is coming out to be same. Okay. Understood ना बच्चा लोगों? Whenever this kind of question came in exam, then you have to open it, then solve it. Okay, now let's do it this one. Okay, so xt is equal to, I think all the subjects are going through, na? All the subjects are going. Network is already done. I think EDC is also done. So let's see. Suppose that the signal is ut plus 0.5 and minus ut minus 0.5. Okay, convolved with the signal e to power j omega naught t. We have to find out the value of omega naught such that y0 is 0. Such that y0 is 0. So we can see that xt is equals to a rectangular signal ut plus 0.5 minus ut minus 0.5 means it is a rectangle from minus 0.5 to 0.5. Height is 1.0. Okay, convolved with the signal e to power j omega naught t. नमस्कार चौधरी साहब. E to power j omega naught t. So we have to find out yt and then we have to put the condition y0 equal to 0. Let's solve it together बच्चा लोगों. So yt is equal to minus infinity to infinity x tau h of t minus tau d tau. H of t minus tau is e to power j omega naught. Now बच्चा लोगों, we need to find y0. d tau. Now we integrate this. So minus 1 upon j omega e to power minus j 0.5 omega naught minus e to power plus j 0.5 omega naught. And if we integrate this, what we'll get? We'll get a sine term, right? J in the denominator will get a sine term. We'll get sine of 0.5 omega naught upon omega naught. I hope all of you are able to reach up to the point. Bachcha logo, what is the answer? We have to make this 0. We have to make this 0. We have to make this a 0. So, to make this 0, bachcha logo, we need that the sine term, the term inside the sine should be equal to pi or n pi, integer multiple of pi. So, 0.5 omega naught is equals to n pi, or we can say omega naught equals to 2n pi. But here n cannot be 0. N cannot be 0 because if we put n equal to 0, then omega will be 0 and we get a 0 by 0 form, and there this term is not 0. Okay. So, we cannot put n equal to 0. We put n equal to 1 and we got omega naught equal to 2. How many of you got the answer, bachcho? How many of you got this answer? Jaldi se bata do. How many of you got this answer? I hope all of you are able to get this answer, right? Let's move on. Okay? Okay. One more question for your practice. Let's see. One more question for your practice. Let's see how many of you are able to do it. Find okay, so let's find the convolution at t equal to 3. Let's find the convolution at t equal to 3, bachcha logo. Let's do it together. Let's see how many of you are able to understand, how many of you are able to solve this. Anyone got the answer, bachcho? So let's solve it together. We can use Laplace also, but Laplace would be little bit lengthy. Okay, but we can directly use the formula of convolution. So it is simply x tau h of 3 minus tau d tau integration. So now we simply have to put the equation. So this kind of question you can expect in GATE exam. The similar question was asked in GATE 2021, but that was for discrete. This is for continuous. Okay. Bachcha logo, tell me, u tau is a signal from 0 to infinity, right? And u of 3 minus tau is a signal from minus infinity to 3. If we multiply these two, what we'll get? We'll get a signal which is from 0 to 3 only. Understood, bachcho? u tau is a signal from 0 to infinity, and u of 3 minus tau is from minus infinity to 3, right? Minus infinity to 3. So this product will be from 0 to 3 only. Product will be from 0 to 3 only. E to power minus tau, e to power 3, e to power minus 3, e to power tau, e to power 4. So e to power tau and this will cancel, this and this will cancel, and this d tau. So we will get e to power 4 will come out because it's a constant term. 3 to power 4. How many of you got this answer, बच्चा लोगों? 3 to power 4. I can see some perfect है. रोहन भाई, मजूमदार भाई, सबका हुआ बच्चों? 3 to power 4 perfect है. So this kind of question can be asked in GATE exam. Okay, so this was for convolution, right? Great. Now let xt be periodic signal whose Fourier series are given to us. This is the Fourier series given to us. Okay. 2 and j 1 by 2 to power mod k, otherwise it is 0. So we have to find out, is it real बच्चा लोगों? Now please tell me, if the signal is real, what is the Fourier series? If the signal is real, the Fourier series coefficient possesses which property? If the signal is real, then it possesses which property? Sir, conjugate symmetry. Conjugate symmetry. So what is conjugate symmetry? Sir, conjugate symmetry means Ck is equals to C minus K conjugate. So let's see, does it follow this property or not? Okay. So AK means, AK does not mean the coefficient of cos. AK means the Fourier series coefficient, that is Ck, exponential Fourier series coefficient. Okay. Now, sir, AK or Ck doesn't matter. We can write it anyway. So it is equal to J 0.5 to power mod K. And what will be C of minus K conjugate? So first of all, we replace K by minus K and take conjugate. So conjugate means minus J. When we take conjugate, J will convert to minus J. And 0.5 to power mod K. We replace K inside modulus by minus K, but it will not get affected because it's a modular sign, so it will not change. So are they equal, बच्चा लोगों? Is Ck and C minus K conjugate equal to each other? Not equal. They are not equal to each other, and since they are not equal to each other, we can say that the Fourier series are not conjugate symmetric, and since it is not conjugate symmetric, xt is not real. Xt is not real, no. Again we can see this. Just recall the property that if signal is real, the Fourier series are conjugate symmetric, and in case of conjugate symmetry, we simply have to check Ck and C minus K conjugate are equal or not. We can say they are not equal to each other, and thus it is not real. Okay. Now what about even, बच्चा लोगों? How to check even? How to check the signal is even or not? So to check whether the signal is even or not, we have to simply check that signal is even means Ck is even. So Ck even means we have to check Ck is equals to C minus K, and I think that is true because Ck is equals to 0.5 to power mod K into J, and C minus K is equal to J. If we put simply K by minus K, the mod sign will change and we'll get this. So we can see that yes, they are equal to each other. So xt is even, right? xt is even. Yes, this is true. Sir, we can see that Ck and C minus K are equal to each other. There is no doubt about it. Okay. So this is true. And what about differentiation of the even signal, बच्चों? Differentiation of even signal is that if xt is even, then d by dt of xt will be odd. D by dt of xt will be odd. Okay. So differentiation of even is odd. So d by dt of xt is even? No. This is wrong. I hope all of you are able to do this. Bacha logo, recall all the properties of Fourier series. Right? Okay, great. I hope all of you are able to do it. Let's move on. Great. So let's see the transfer function. Let's find out the Laplace transform of this signal. Let's find the Laplace transform of this signal. Okay. Now, can you please tell me from where should I start? In this question, from where should I start? I'll use all the properties of Laplace in this question. So we start with ut. So ut has Laplace transform 1 upon s. Okay. Then we multiply it by e to power minus 3t ut. So what is this step, bacha logo? If we multiply in time domain by e to power minus 3t, means shifting in Laplace domain, and in shifting in Laplace domain the effect goes with the opposite sign. Shifting in S domain, so 1 upon S plus 3. Okay, so we got this. Now here we have t minus 2 terms, so we'll do time shifting. And effect goes with the same sign in case of time shifting. So we are putting t minus 2. So we'll get e to power minus 2s upon s plus 3. Perfect. And then we have this signal, the Laplace transform is here. Now in this case we are doing differentiation in time domain also. So differentiation in time domain, whenever we do differentiation in time domain, the Laplace gets multiplied by s. Right? So here we are doing differentiation in time domain 2 times. Okay. So this is what we'll get. How many of you understood this, or how many of you are able to recall all the properties? All the properties, I hope all of you are able to recall. Understood, bacha logo? Perfect. So I think all of you are able to do it. Let's move on. Okay. This question, discrete time Fourier series. We have to find the signal, bacha logo, and Fourier series is given to us. In this case, the Fourier series is given to us, and we have to find the time domain signal. What is the process? Can anyone tell me the process? I'll solve it, but can anyone help me in telling the process, bacha logo? What is the process? How to proceed? How to proceed, bacho, in this question? Can anyone tell me? The Fourier series are given to us, discrete time Fourier series. Just tell me the process, how to proceed. How to proceed, bacho? Okay, so first of all, we'll convert the period is 8. विल कन्वर्ट इट इनटू ई की पावर में कन्वर्ट कर लेते हैं. So we got this. Okay. Now tell me how from which term should I compare so that I can get xn? From which term should I compare so that I can get xn? Okay, we have converted into e to power. Then from which term to compare बच्चा लोगों? किससे compare करेंगे? From which term should I compare and how to compare? Okay, I am writing two formulas. Let me tell you, please tell me which formula to use for comparison. Okay, so I am writing two formulas. I would request all the students to tell me which formula should be used for comparison. So period is 8, that's why I have written the summation like this. I hope all of you are able to recall the formula, the basic formula. 0 to 7 or minus 4 to 3 doesn't matter. बताइए बच्चा लोगों, which formula should I use for comparison? The formula number 1 or formula number 2? Which formula should I use to get xn from xk? I want to get xn. I have xk in terms of exponentials. Which formula should be used for comparison? Formula number 1 or 2? I want all the students to answer, बच्चों. Great. Do you know why you are able to answer it correctly? Because you only, the students who are live and some students who watch the session recorded, you are the students who are studying with full consistency. Remember that bacha logo, you all are very different from all the students of your age group. That's a fact, and you should be very proud of yourself that you all are really consistent in your studies. Okay, and this type of consistency cannot be maintained by all the students. Okay, so just try to keep yourself very motivated, and with that motivation only, on 5th February 2023, just go and blast in your GATE 2023 exam, because you all are very consistent. That's why you are able to answer these questions correctly. Okay, so we'll use this formula for comparison. So we'll use 1 by 8 xn e to power minus j pi nk by 4. So let's compare बच्चा लोगों. First term we can see that it is pi k by 4. So n is equal to minus 1, the first term, and we can see that the coefficient is 1 by 2. So x of 1 n is minus 1. So x of minus 1 is equal to 4 by comparing the पहले term. पहला term से compare करके ऐसा मिलेगा. दूसरे में से compare करेंगे सर. यहाँ देखिए ऊपर in the power we have minus k pi by 4. So minus k pi by 4 means n is equal to 1 here. So here we can see that x1 is equal to 4. The third term, if we compare, we get n is equal to minus 2. So x of minus 2 will be equal to 4 upon j, and the last term is n equals to 2. So x of 2 is equal to minus 4 upon j. I hope all of you are able to do it, बच्चा लोगों. नमस्कार भाई. Perfect. All of you are able to do it, बच्चा लोगों? Perfect. Great. So like this, we can solve this question. This is discrete time Fourier series. I hope all of you are able to do it. Discrete time Fourier series. I hope all of you are able to do it. Okay. So let's move on, बच्चों. Okay. Okay. So this is the question, बच्चा लोगों, of log. Similar question can be in case of Laplace also. This is the question of Z transform. So determine the inverse Z transform of this signal using the power series expansion. नहीं सर, हमें power series expansion नहीं करना. What was the concept, बच्चा लोगों? How we solve these questions? In case of log, we use which property? We use differentiation property, right? Differentiation in Z domain property. We use differentiation in Z domain property. So what was the property, बच्चा लोगों? So let us say xn is having the Z transform log of 1 plus a Z inverse. Now we multiply it by n xn will have Z transform minus Z and differentiate this. Differentiate this. So if we differentiate this minus Z d by dz okay. So now if we differentiate this, one plus a Z inverse, and then we differentiate the inner term also, we get minus Z to power minus 2 into a. Minus minus will cancel and we'll get a Z inverse upon 1 plus a Z inverse. So this is your the signal. This is the Z transform of nxn. nxn. So now solve it now. So 1 upon 1 plus a Z inverse. Here we have seen that the signal is right sided from the ROC, right? The signal is right sided from the ROC. So 1 upon 1 plus a Z inverse minus a to power n un. Now in the numerator we need a Z inverse. So in the numerator Z inverse means time shifting in the right side. Multiplying both sides by a, we will get multiplication by a in both sides. Perfect. So I hope all of you are able to reach up to this point. And now, bacha logo, this is not the answer because this time domain signal corresponds to nxn. This time domain signal corresponds to nxn, and thus xn is a minus a to power n minus 1 divided by n. So this is your final answer. How many of you are able to recall all the concept of the question, bacha logo? Okay, great. I hope all of you are able to reach up to the point. Great. Perfect. Perfect. So like this, we can solve the log question. Similarly, we can have the same concept in Laplace also. So let's do that also, bachcha logo, quickly. Suppose we have excess is equal to so let's solve it बच्चा लोगों. So similar concept बच्चों, similar concept by the same differentiation property we will be doing this. Okay. So excess is equal to log of okay normal log property. Now xt corresponds to so if we multiply it by t, txt corresponds to what was the property बच्चा लोगों? What is the property? Okay, tell me, is this correct or wrong? txt corresponds to d by ds of xs. Is this correct or wrong बच्चों? Is this correct or wrong? So txt corresponds to d by ds of xs. Is this correct or wrong? We have an extra minus sign on the signal side. Perfect है. So minus t. So we differentiate this 1 upon s plus 3, 1 upon s plus 2, and we have the right sided ROC. We have the right sided ROC. So minus t xt will be equal to e to power minus 3t minus e to power minus 2t ut. You simply have to divide this by minus t to get xt. I hope all of you are able to do it. E to power minus 2t I hope all of you are able to get this बच्चों. Perfect है. Okay, great. So let's move on बच्चों. I hope this point is also clear from Laplace side also and from the Z transform also. Suppose this is a signal बच्चा लोगों. The DFT of a real signal is given to us. We have to find the energy of the signal. We have to find the energy of the signal. We have to find the energy of the signal. Okay, how many of you remember the Parseval's theorem, बच्चा लोगों? How many of you remember the Parseval's theorem? The Parseval's theorem of DFT. Okay, so first of all, we need two things in this. Tell me, बच्चा लोगों, the two basic properties of DFT. So the signal is real signal. It is a real signal, first thing. Second thing, it is DFT. So what point DFT is this? Sir, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-point DFT. So 8-point DFT means 8-point DFT means बच्चा लोगों 8-point DFT means DFT will be periodic with period 8. So xk will be periodic with period capital 8, right? Now we have to find A, B, C, and then we'll apply the Parseval's to get the energy of the signal. So first of all, let's find A, bachcha logo. So we can see that A is equal to x of 1. So since the signal is real, the DFT will be conjugate symmetric. DFT will be conjugate symmetric. So DFT conjugate symmetric means x1 is equal to x of minus 1 conjugate. And from the periodicity, we can see that x of minus 1 will be equal to x of 7. So this is 0 location, 1 location, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can see that x of 1 is equal to x of minus 1 conjugate because of the conjugate symmetry, and x of minus 1 will be equal to x of 7 because of the periodicity. So we can see that A is equal to x of 7 conjugate. What is x of 7? So x of 7 is minus 1 plus j. Conjugate will be minus 1 minus j. Understood, all of you? All of you are able to do this. So A is clear to all of you. Now what about B? B is equal to x of 3. X of 3 is equal to x of minus 3 conjugate because of the conjugate symmetry. And x of minus 3 will be equal to x of 5 conjugate because of periodicity. So x of 5 is equal to minus 2j. So minus 2j conjugate will be 2j. All of you are able to do this, bachcho? Now I'll ask you the Parseval's also, don't worry. So C is equal to x of 6. So x of 6 will be equal to x of 6 minus 6 conjugate. That is equal to x of 2 conjugate because of periodicity. What is x of 2? X of 2 is minus 2. So x of 2 is minus 1, sorry. X of 2 is minus 1. So minus 1 conjugate is minus 1 itself. So we got A, B and C. How many of you are able to do it? All of you are able to do it, right? Great. Now, bachcha logo, tell me the Parseval's. Energy is equal to, energy of the signal is equal to summation of xk mod square 0 to 7 what is the Parseval's? 1/8 आएगा या नहीं आएगा? 1/8 आएगा या नहीं आएगा बच्चों? Parseval's में 1/8 आएगा? क्या DFT के Parseval's में 1/8 आता है बच्चों? यस सर, आएगा, ठीक है ना? तो Parseval's में 1/8 जरूर आएगा. तो एनर्जी इज इक्वल टू दिस. आई होप ऑल ऑफ यू रिमेंबर दिस. अगर किसी को याद नहीं होता है ये, तो कल जब हम लोग पढ़ेंगे तो फिर मैं आपको एक कॉन्सेप्ट भी बता दूंगा जिससे हमने याद करा हुआ है, ठीक है? वैसे वो कॉन्सेप्ट मैंने क्लास सीरीज में बताया था, क्लास कोर्स में, पर ठीक है. सो लेट्स डू इट 1/8 एंड मॉड ऑफ एक्स के होल स्क्वायर. तो मीन्स 1 प्लस ए स्क्वायर. तो 1 स्क्वायर. A mod square means what is mod of A? Mod of A will be √2 and mod of A square will be 2. Then minus 1 square is 1. B. B is 2j, so mod of square will be 4. Then 7 means 49. Then 2j minus 2j square is 4. Then C. C is minus 1, so minus 1 square is 1. And last minus 1 plus j mod square is again 2. So let's see what all is this बच्चा लोगों. Let's add them and get the answer. So 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, 11, 15. So this will come out to be 49 plus 15, that is 64 by 8. All of you got this बच्चा लोगों? हाँ, यही है. CTFS, there are three properties which we have to look at. There are three properties which we have to look at. Multiplication in time domain. बताता हूं, रुको एक मिनट. ये सबको क्लियर है? There are three properties which we have to look at. Parseval's, multiplication in time domain and convolution in time domain. Okay, so in these three, a very important concept is there, that is ट्रांसफॉर्म्स में कोफिशिएंट आएगा. ट्रांसफॉर्म्स में कोफिशिएंट आएगा. थोड़ा सा इसको छोटा कर देता हूं. ट्रांसफॉर्म्स में कोफिशिएंट आएगा इन दोनों केसेस में, और सीरीज में नहीं आएगा. Means in case of DTFT, CTFT, in case of DTFT, CTFT, DFT, इन तीनों केसेस में इन दोनों में कोफिशिएंट आता है. मतलब लेट्स सी. तो एनर्जी ऑफ xt is 1/2 pi integration of minus infinity to infinity mod of x omega whole square. So we have the coefficient. Energy of xn 1/2 pi minus infinity to infinity mod of x sigma, that is DTFT minus pi to pi, not minus infinity to infinity. Here also we have the coefficient. But in case of series, discrete time Fourier series and continuous time Fourier series, we don't have any coefficient in the Parseval's. So let me write that also. TFT I have already written, Parseval's यहाँ पे लिखा ही है. So in case of power of xn is directly addition of xk mod square. There is no coefficient here. Similarly, power of xt, periodic signal. In this case also summation of xk mod square. Okay. So just I am telling you how to recall this, and I hope all of you are able to recall this. So I am rubbing these formulas because these are not required. You all remember these formulas. The only thing is just remember that transforms में coefficient आएगा in these two cases, multiplication in time domain, convolution in frequency domain, but with the coefficient. Okay. But in this case, in convolution and time domain, transform has the coefficient and series has no coefficient. Let me show you with the formula. So example, if I am doing लिख दिया. For example, if I am doing x1t multiplied by x2t, then the Fourier transform will be 1 upon 2 pi x1 omega convolve x2 omega. So we have the coefficient term. Similarly, we have the coefficient term in discrete time Fourier transform, but in Fourier series we don't have any coefficient. It is directly xk convolve x1k convolve x2k. So here we have no coefficient, but here we have coefficients. Okay. So I hope all of you remember this, because this is very important and can lead to loss of marks. Can lead to loss of marks in exam. Okay. So we'll see this tomorrow also. Okay. So let's move on, bacha logo. This we have already done. Okay. This we have already done. Similar question we have done here. Okay. Now let's move on to this question and two or three more questions of this format, because GATE is very keen to ask questions based on sync. Okay. Bacha logo, we have to find out the area under the function. We have to find the area under the function. How to do that, bacha logo? First of all, how many of you remember this? How many of you remember this, bachcho? One upon 1 plus t square Fourier transform. How many of you remember 1 upon 1 plus jt Fourier transform? How many of you remember sine of omega naught t upon pi t Fourier transform? How many of you remember these three, bacha logo? What is common in these three, bacho? What is common in these three? What is common in these three? What is common in these three? Sir, we use duality to find out the Fourier transform of these three. Okay. So these three are very important. E to power a mod t has Fourier transform 2a upon a square plus omega square. So using this, we can duality, we'll get this result. So using the duality here, we can see that 2a upon a square plus t square, this will be 2 pi e to power minus mod omega a. Okay, so 2 and 2 we can cancel and we'll get a is equal to 1 in this case. So we got this. Okay. Similarly, this one, bacha logo, using duality, I hope all of you remember this. Sir, e to power minus at ut 1 upon a plus j omega. So using duality, 1 upon a plus jt will have 2 pi e to power a omega u of minus omega. So we'll use this. So simply put a equal to 1 in this equation, we'll get the answer 2 pi e to power omega. And last one, I hope all of you remember this. What is the Fourier transform of this, bacha logo? Fourier transform is rect of omega upon 2 omega. है ना? I hope all of you remember these things. Right? Okay. तो जल्दी से बच्चे लोगों को सॉल्व कर लेते हैं. कुछ गलती कर दिया क्या मैंने? अच्छा, ओके, ऊपर. अब ठीक. चलिए. Perfect. So let's do this, बच्चा लोगों. So first of all, we'll write 10 sine pi t by 7 divided by pi t by 7. Always remember that think x is equal to Sin pi x upon pi x. Sin pi x upon pi x. Now, बच्चा लोगों, in this case 70 sin pi t upon 7 divided by pi t. So, sir, shifting does not affect the area. So, I'm neglecting this 4. I'm neglecting this 4. So, it will not affect the area. So, what is the area of the signal? How many of you remember that? That minus infinity to infinity xt dt is x0. The Fourier transform at 0. So, what is this? So, this will give us 70 rect of omega upon 2 pi by 7. At omega equal to 0, the value is 70. So, is the area equal to 70 बच्चा लोगों? किस किस का आया था? Yes. So, the area is equal to 70. We can easily see that. All of you are able to do it, बच्चा लोगों? All of you are able to do it? Perfect. One more question which is very favorite of GATE is this. Okay, please find this, बच्चा लोगों. Can you please help me in finding this? Okay, so which kind of property we'll use, बच्चा लोगों? We use Parseval's. So we use Parseval's. So in this case, we have to find the energy of this signal. T by 7. So for energy of the signal, we'll first of all find the Fourier transform of this. Fourier transform of this we have already seen. It will come out to be, so first of all we'll write it like this: 7 sin pi t by 7 divided by pi t. So we'll get 7 rect of omega upon 2 pi by 7. Rect of omega upon 2 pi by 7. Okay. So we can see that the Fourier transform is having height 7, from minus pi by 7 to pi by 7. So the Parseval says that the energy of the signal is equal to, convolution भी कह सकते हो, the energy of the signal is equal to 1 upon 2 pi integration of the Fourier transform का square, that is 49 from pi by 7. So we got 49 upon 2 pi. How many of you got this answer, बच्चा लोगों? How many of you got this answer? Perfect. Great. Great. I hope all of you are able to solve these kind of questions, right? ओके परफेक्ट। तो बच्चा लोगों, we'll be meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. We'll be meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. for Maha revision of signal system, and we'll be completely revising all the concepts, okay, that are used in theory as well as in questions. Okay, so I'll meet you tomorrow at 7 on the Gate Wallah ECE channel. Thank you dear students, bye bye, take care. Till then, बच्चा लोगों, keep studying and keep yourself motivated बच्चा लोगों, because you all are very different. You all are very different because you all are highly consistent in your studies. Thank you, bye bye. एनलॉग का रिवीजन भी मैं लूंगा भाई.